أخيرا.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين نستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به عز وجل وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد أيها المسلمون. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. All praise belongs to Allah, the God and evolver, the cherisher, keeper, sustainer of all the systems of knowledge. We seek His help, we ask for His forgiveness, we put our faith and our trust in Him. Mighty and sublime is He. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah alone, the one and only, there is none like unto Him. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to whom the Quran was revealed 1,452 years ago, is Allah's servant, messenger, prophet to all of mankind. We ask Allah's peace, His blessings, His highest exaltations be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family, his companions, the righteous all. On you, O Muslims, be peace. Assalamu alaikum. That is, greetings to our brothers and sisters here at MASJID MUHAMMED. We say to our Facebook live audience, to the Muslims, greetings and peace to you, to our Christian brothers and sisters, family members, relatives, friends, co-workers, peace be with you. To our Jewish brothers and sisters, members of the faith community, shalom. Those of you all who are listening to us on our JUMAH conference line, peace be with you. Janina Abdullah, Malaysia, Rahima Abdul Wadud in Ghana, Anwar in Hilo, Hawaii, Donald Eubanks in Yucatan, Mexico, Ajib Bilal in Albania, and so many of you brothers and sisters in Bermuda, around the United States of America and around the world. We greet all of you, and we pray that God is blessing you with good circumstances, good health, and well-being wherever you may be. Our subject today for JUMAH is taken from the 3rd chapter, actually verse 140, but there are 3 verses. 3rd chapter we'll be reading from 137 to verse 140. We vary the fortunes of mankind. We vary the fortunes. Vary meaning it's alternated. We vary the fortunes of mankind. God says in the Quran, He alternates the day and He alternates the night, meaning that everyone get their time to shine, and their light goes out, then another nation gets its time to shine, and their light goes out. So God says He does this. He alternates this. And when you study history, you see that that's the way that nations have risen and nations have fallen. They get an opportunity, like the sunrise. And Great Britain said that the sun would never set on their empire. The sun would never set. Well, the sun does set. And the sun moves and rotates. And God says every nation get it. So every people, and that applies to us as individuals. Every people get the sunrise, an opportunity to shine, and every people gonna get some nighttime. That's just the cycle in creation and nature. So we vary the fortunes of mankind. Now, before I begin reading from the Quran and elaborating on what we have today for the JUMAH, I do want to mention that we're having storms, weather, and our Facebook audience, you are live with us. We have weather issues last night with our excellent program at Islam Worldwide Ministry. But we recorded it and we did post it. So those of you all who watch our programs on a regular basis, you can go back to our page, and you know the page, Al Islam Worldwide Ministry. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to Worldwide Ministry, Al Islam Worldwide Ministry on Facebook, or you can go to MASJID MUHAMMED on Facebook, or IMAM YAHYA ABDULLAH on Facebook, and you will find the program. Now, I'm mentioning that because it was a very, very rich subject, and one that most people in America and most people around the world are not aware of. The Quran and the United States Constitution. That's what we discussed. We had the supporting documentation and data, and I have some for the second part, just a couple of things I want to read for the second part of the JUMAH, but this is important in the history of America and given the current climate, political climate we live in, and even right here in the state of Florida, as I mentioned last night about the efforts of the Florida state legislature to create some laws to bar and ban Sharia in Florida, and I mean, we're not interested in that. You know, they're wasting their time and taxpayers' money. You already have a Sharia. You already have laws, and no Muslim for Sharia is for Muslims. So the state of Florida, last time I checked, wasn't that many Muslims in Florida. So I don't know why you anti the Muslims or anti-Sharia when you already have a Sharia. Sharia means law. So you're a lawmaker. You are under Sharia. The term is Arabic. Learn something so you don't make yourself look foolish in the eyes of the people who are informed. All right, so we vary the fortunes of mankind. Chapter 3, verse 137 and 140. Now, as I'm reading from the Quran, always you want to know, how does this apply to you? Okay, what can you do with it? All right. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Verse 137, we start there. قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ سُنَنٌ فَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Sadaqallahu al-Azim, God the Mighty spoke the truth. Many were the ways of life that have passed away before you all. So travel through the earth and see what was the end of those who rejected truth. So Allah revealed to Muhammad the Prophet, and hence lessons for us in the 21st century. Many were the different paths of life, the different societies and nations. And one of the oldest nations on earth today, by the way, one of the youngest nations on earth is our nation, the United States of America, one of the youngest nations. Now, the most powerful nation, isn't that something? The youngest nation right now is the most powerful nation. But we have ancient civilizations. China is an ancient civilization, thousands of years old. Ancient Egypt, ancient civilization long before America, before Europe, ancient civilization. So God said many were the different ways of society and many were the different ways of life. The diverse cultures, the diverse nations that have existed on this earth since man has been here. So he's bringing this to the attention of Muhammad the prophet to instruct the prophet to look back at societies, nations, how these nations came up, what were the strengths and weaknesses of these nations, and how these nations fell. Well, most of them collapsed. And even some of them that fell, they had rebirth. Yeah, revival, revitalization. So just because the nation fell, don't mean the nation can't get back up now. Because Rome fell. Rome declined. But Rome is still a progressive society today. In Rome, Italy, they have the Vatican there. Very, very strong established society. But they went through the cycle. Sunrise, sunset. Rising and falling. Verse 138. Before 138. Fasiru fil ardi. So travel through the earth. Long ago, well, not even so long ago, if you wanted to know about different nations and cultures and societies, you literally had to travel to those places. You want to know about China, you had to travel to China. You want to know about Egypt, you had to travel to Egypt. You want to know about Rome, you had to travel to Rome. You want to know about Paris, France, you had to travel to Paris, France. But now, because of modern technology, you can travel with your fingers. You can go on the internet, real time, and take a tour through any nation, any society, and never leave the comfort of your home. Are you aware you can do that? I mean, in real time. You can actually see people walking the streets. You can look at the neighborhoods through Google Maps, Google Earth. So God, he's telling us, travel. So, well, okay, it was physical travel then. Now, you still do the physical travel. But now, you can travel with your imagination. You can travel with exploration. You can travel by researching these societies and these countries. So all the whole world is in this device that I'm holding up right here. The whole world. I can access the world's library. I can access streets. I can access neighborhoods. I can access countries. I don't even have to type it in. They have microphones now. You say, pull up China. And China will show up. Pull up Egypt. Egypt will show up. And if you want, now China's a big nation. So if you want certain place in China, you say, pull up Shanghai. And the computer, the phone will pull up Shanghai. They pull up Guangzhou. The phone will pull up Guangzhou. Say, pull up Hainan. These are cities in China. I've been to all these places. I'm named by the grace of God. It'll pull it up. Say, pull up Shenzhen. That's the intellectual, that's technology province, Shenzhen. Say, pull up Shenzhen, and the city comes right up on your phone. So, traveling now doesn't necessarily mean the Quran is relevant. Doesn't necessarily mean I have to get on the plane and go anywhere. But it also helps expand the imagination, but you can do that with technology now. Look how Allah has brought the world right in man's hands. Yeah, and you remember they used to have, they still have it, they don't show it as much anymore. Atlas, the mythological figure of Atlas, huh? And they call the map Atlas. We don't need Atlas anymore. We got Google. And Atlas had the whole world on his, he had a globe on his back. I don't know if y'all remember that. He had the globe on his back, which is to say, I'm a global citizen. Yeah, but he didn't have an afro, and I'll leave it alone right there. I just say Atlas didn't have an afro. Which is to say, the African Americans don't think globally like the other folk do. We're changing that now. Verse 138. So follow the instruction of God now. Travel. Fasiru fil ardi. go throughout the whole globe. And one more note on this. We mentioned last night in the Declaration of Independence, and I was reading from the Quran, where God says he has given inherent rights to all of Adam's children. And among those inherent rights is the right to move about the land, the entire earth, move about the space, all of the Adam's children, and move about the seas. So God never restricted the movement of any of us. So don't you restrict your movements. Don't limit yourself to Jacksonville or Africa or Asia or China. China's in Asia, or in the Caribbean or South America. No. New York, Chicago, Dallas. No. United States. No. God says travel the whole earth. The whole earth is yours. Have the same mind as atmosphere. I want to see the world. Verse 138. Now don't forget the subject now. We vary the fortunes of mankind. But I started so you see the flow. هذا بيان للناس وهدى وموعظة للمتقين. Here is plain information, plain statement to mankind, a guidance and instructions to those who are regardful of God. So God says, here is plain information I'm going to give you now. Bayanun, though, the translation, I'm not really comfortable with that. Plain. That means certain things to us in English. Bayanun means clear, not confusing, not mystical and mysterious. Clear. So really God is saying, have that bayanun. This is clear knowledge, clear information that he's giving to Prophet Muhammad. Doesn't confuse you, doesn't put you in Spooksville. No. And bayan means enlightenment too. That's what bayan means, enlightenment. It is so clear, it enlightens. Yes. Hence the chapter 98 of the Quran, al-bayyana. The clarity is the same word now, bayanun. So here is clear information, guidance to mankind, wa mau'idah, teachings, lessons that are clear. But who is it for? Lil muttaqin, those who are regardful of God, those who are conscious of their Creator, those who are conscious of the creation that God has created for them. Now remember the subject. He varies the fortunes of nations now. But all of this leads up to it. Verse 139. وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَحْلَوْنَ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. My dear brothers and sisters, in Africa, this could help you what I'm getting ready to say right here. And those of you all who are living in abject poverty here in America, but around the world. Nobody has abject poverty like other, these so-called nations. We don't have abject poverty in America like certain nations do. You might think you do. It's all because it's relative. It's relative. It's comparing it with the rich and the well-to-do people. Yes. But when you travel, God says travel through the earth. And you go to, and I won't put any country on the spot, but there are certain countries you can go to and the poverty hurts you. It hurts your soul. It hurts your spirit to see people living like that. And I have been to some of those places where the poverty hurt me. That I just couldn't believe that human beings were living like that. So here's a message for you from the Quran. God says, so lose not spirit. Don't lose your spirit. وَلَا تَهِنُوا. Regardless of the circumstances you find yourself in some of these countries, don't lose spirit. Don't give up. And the problem that we're having in the southern border of our country, the United States of America, right now. And it is a problem. In the United States, in some instances, we're embarrassing ourselves before the world of nations. Because some of those people, now notice I'm very careful what I'm saying now. I'm not painting with a broad brush. I can't do that. Nations need borders. And nations have to protect their borders. We do. We say all nations. I'm not just talking about our nation. So we don't close a blind eye and say, oh, everybody. No. Nations need borders and we have to respect that. We just can't go to another country and don't respect their immigration laws. You can't do that. God says, travel. But now when you start physically traveling and you have that passport in your hand, you have to get visas in those passports to certain countries. You just can't say, well, I'm a free citizen of the world. I can come in here. Really? It doesn't work like that. But the people who are coming in on the southern border, a lot of them are running from poverty, abject poverty. Yes, from their countries, and they're looking for a better life and a better circumstance in America. And we call ourselves the city on the shining hill. I think President Reagan said that. Oh, we the beacon, we the city on the hill, that shining city on the hill, huh? So to speak. I'm paraphrasing it now. You all know it. And the Statue of Liberty has at its base, give me your tired and weary. Paraphrasing again. So we are the nation that everybody want to come to. And people left abject poverty, looking for better. We're not the only nation. Other nations too. We're not the only one. But I'm in America. I don't live in Canada. I live in America. Canada is one of those places too. Other nations. But the people are running from misery in their lives. So I'm saying to you all in Central America, South America, Africa, other countries, don't lose spirit. God said, don't lose your heart. And if you can't find a way out of your circumstances, see, follow the logic in the Quran now. God says, this message, bayanun lil muttaqin wa maw'idha lil muttaqin. What he gives here is for those who are conscious of God. And if you remember what I said 2 weeks ago, Friday prayer, and if not, I'll repeat it. Muhammad the prophet taught his followers who were struggling and suffering, there is no hijab, no barrier between a suffering person and their Lord. Yeah. So I'm saying that to you all that's in abject poverty. Keep calling on your Lord and ask God to change your circumstances. So God says, don't lose spirit. And that's for us too. Don't lose heart. Don't give up. Don't quit. Things ain't going the way you want them to go. So don't lose your heart, your drive, your spirit, your aspirations. God says, and do not fall into a mental state, Dr. Rashid, of misery, desperation, despondency. Yeah. and look for solutions that create more problems than the ones you had before you went that route to solve it. Opioids, drugs, alcohol, wine, liquors. You think that those things are going to solve your problem? That will compound the problem. So God said to the Prophet Muhammad, and he's saying to us, وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا. Don't let misery overtake your spirit. Don't let despondency and grief overtake your spirit. Don't let desperation overtake your spirit. You let desperation take over, you do desperate things. And you wind up in trouble. As so many do in our society, in our community. They get desperate. So God says, no. وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا. Don't become desperate. And don't become despondent. These are psychological terms. You see, God is addressing the psychology of man, his psyche, his spirit, his soul. Because if it's not conditioned correct, you can't progress. You quit, you give up. Don't fall into despair. وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنْتُمْ مُؤْمِنِينَ. For you must gain mastery over yourself. This is all I'm saying this time. It's not me, I'm reading it. Chapter 3, verse 139. We vary the fortunes of mankind. For you must gain mastery. What does that require? Discipline over yourself. If you are really a believer in God. See, if you're a believer in God, you have to learn how to master yourself. That's the book. That's what the doctor teaches. You have to learn how to discipline this yourself. Self-discipline. And Muhammad the Prophet, prayers and peace be upon him, he said to the warriors on the battlefield when they came back from a physical fight, war, he said, you have just returned from the minor jihad. For our American public, here's another definition of jihad now. He said to the soldiers who were fighting a war, you have just returned from jihad saghira, is the Arabic term, the small minor jihad, to begin jihad kabira, the major jihad. So they were perplexed. They were confused. Well, messenger of God, we were out here fighting, bleeding and killing and getting killed and injured. And you say to us, this is not the biggest struggle, the biggest jihad? He said, that's not the biggest jihad. He said, that's a small struggle. He said, the biggest jihad means struggle. The biggest struggle is for the mastery of your own nafs, your own soul, your own self. That's what Allah just said here. So if you want success, you have to learn to master you. Your emotions, your feelings, your urges, your aspirations. You have to discipline yourself. No undisciplined person has ever become successful. No. Now here's the verse, 140. But I want you to follow how we started, 137, 138, 139, because all of it flows. إن يمسسكم قرح فقد مس القوم فرح ملح وتلك أيام نداولها بين الناس وَلِيَعْلَمَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَيَتَّخِذَ مِنْكُمْ شُهَدَاءَ وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الظَّالِمِينَ. God the Almighty spoke the truth. If some harm or some misfortune or a wound or an injury has happened to you, but now this is in the plural, in yanseskum, we vary the fortunes of mankind, nation. If some misfortune, some harm has happened to your community, your nation, your society, be certain, God says, فَقَدْ مَسَّ الْقَوْمَ. Be certain. Now, how will we be certain of this, God? Be certain that a similar situation, similar misfortune has happened to people before you. Well, we have to do, there is a qualifier for us now. We don't have any people that went through the kind of slavery circumstances we went through. But we're not the only people that were ever enslaved. The Irish were in slavery too. But only 700 years. And if you go back to ancient times, people enslaved their own people before they started enslaving other people. The people right around them were enslaved. Ancient Egyptians, if you were born in ancient Egypt back in the day, Pharaoh had everybody. And when his number was up and he died, he made sure all his servants were killed and buried right along with him. Because he thought that you'd wake up on the other side and be his servants over there too. He had reality hit him when he woke up. So God says every nation goes through this. They go through sunrise and sunset. وَيُولِجُ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَيُولِجُ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارُ وَيُولِجُ النَّهَارُ وَاللَّيْلِ. And we alternate the seasons. We alternate the day. So you will have your time to shine, your daytime, as I started off saying this. And then the sunlight will go out. And it's another people's time to rise. Well, I don't know if you're watching the clock like I'm watching it. And I'm not talking about that clock on that wall or this watch on my wrist. I'm talking about the social clock. I'm talking about this societal clock. And from where I can see, it looks like the sun is rising on the children of former slave masters in the United States of America. Former slave ancestors. Well, we belong to the master too. But former slave ancestors look like the sun. Look like it's our time. Now, what's the big indicator of that? Now, you might not see this as a big indicator because you're looking at something else, but you got to look at what causes these things. God is always behind all of it now. So if God is the cause behind, and he is, there's no doubt about it, he knows what's needed to cause us to come up and stay up for a long time. Now, you might not see it that way, but you ain't the one causing the sun to rise either. We don't cause that. So that's why God said this is for lil muttaqin, those who are conscious of God. So that's why he said travel through the earth. See how I brought other nations and societies up. See how they lasted. See what caused them to come down. See what caused them to come back up. Now, if you're paying attention to the movement of the sun across the sky, you don't control it. We have no control over that. So what's the biggest indicator that is our time in America and the sun is rising on us? Listen, we have the Quran. I don't think you understand what that means. You have to travel through history. You have to read the books. Go through and search, research. And look behind us. That's history. And even to this day, you can go, you can go to history. You can look at what's going on presently. And see the societies and the nations that are still adhering to the Quran and see how they are faring right now in 2019. But here we are, and I'm speaking locally now. I know I'm on the world stage, and this happens for everybody across the world. Happens for all of us in the state. I'm speaking in Jacksonville, Florida, 320 Woodbine Street, Woodbine and Pearl. But I'm reading from the book that my foreparents had in West Africa before they were made slaves in Charleston, South Carolina. 7 generations ago. And in America, and I'm just one person, identifying one place, one city, one mosque, Masjid Muhammad, but this is happening all over these United States of America, in the inner city. This is happening in Central America, South America, Bermuda, other islands, where the children of former slave parents have come in contact with the Quran and they have their own view of it. That's the indicator that the sun is rising in the United States of America. And it's rising among people that had no light. Well, let me qualify that. No light as bright as this light. Because we had a little flashlight of information knowledge before. No, we got the sunlight of it now. And it's just a matter of time. See, when the sun rises, it's not as hot as it gets when it's at noonday. When it's rising, it's a cool light. Now it's up. But it ain't hot yet. No, it's still cool. Ain't that something? It's up, but it's still cool. That big old ball of fire. And then as the day goes along, it heats up. And then it reaches its apex. And it absorbs all the shadows. Y'all talking about the shadow the other night. I didn't want to chime in a few weeks ago. I said, hey, I'll have an opportunity to mention that. It absorbs all the mysteries, takes the darkness away, the superstitions and the spookisms, the voodoo and the witchcraft. You all in Africa you ain't gonna make it with voodoo and witchcraft. You gotta let the sunlight of the Quran absorb those shadows and take that darkness out your mind, because it's gonna handicap you. And those of us in America now, you have to be careful. I say this to you all the time, as Imam Muhammad said it to us and helped us, protected us. God grant him the high station in paradise. As we rise in America, don't be naive and think nobody's watching us. The people who sit up in the high heavens are not watching us. Of course they are. And they know how they slowed down the progress in the past with shadows of mysticism and spookism and mysteries and witchcraft. And they get the people so caught up in shadows, they miss the sunlight. Because they're fascinated by the dark. Well, what's on the other side of that letter? What's over there behind that concept? And they say, well, if we can get them to keep chasing shadows and not deal with the real world, they won't make as much progress as they are capable of making with the Quran. Now look at what God said. If a harm or wound has touched you or some misfortune, be certain. Ain't no doubt about it. You may not even know, but don't doubt it. That's cut for cut. Be certain that other people, other nations, have been affected the same way. Now here's the topic. Such days, watilka ayamu, such days of varying fortunes, nudawiluha bainan-nas. Such days of varying fortunes we give to mankind, societies, nations, and men by turns. Everybody get a chance. It's our turn. Now look, I'm going to read something to you. The Japanese, in this book titled Yen. Now this fits in with our subject. I'm giving you real tangible evidence now. On page 101, from the Japanese are a power to be reckoned with. Chinese are a power to be reckoned with. But the Japanese weren't always a powerhouse, economically speaking. But when their turn came, here's what they attributed to. They say, the reason they became wealthy so fast is based on two simple ideas. Two. We got five. They said two. The first idea was the devotion to hard work. وَأَلَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. That was last week. وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى. And know that people, mankind, will get nothing but what he works hard for. And the fruit of his strength. That's a Quranic principle. I gave you the chapter and verse last week. 53, 39, and 40. So this is what they said. The first idea, now only two simple ideas, was a devotion to hard work and do something for yourself. I'm reading it. Self-reliance, summarized by the saying, and we read this on Islam Worldwide Ministry. That's this statement. God helps those who help themselves. That's their first idea. And where did they come by this information? Well, I gave you that last week. Now they got this from the West. They got it out of a book called Self-Help by Samuel Smiles. I shared that book with you last week. Self-Help, Character, Thrift. He emphasized the importance of thrift and duty and argued that nothing was impossible with hard work and self-reliance as the cornerstones of entrepreneurial undertakings. The wealth of the Chinese today's wealth of the Chinese, is and was the product, listen carefully, of an entire nation. Collective hard work, self-reliance, and thrift. Now, quickly, the second principle. Remember I told you there were only two principles that they say. I'm reading it. The second principle, and we have to give Pharaoh credit for this. In America now, he at least trying to adhere to this. But you got to understand this on the local level. Don't make war. That's the second principle. Don't make war. Don't tie up your resources fighting enemies. Now I'm gonna make this a little local Facebook. I'm just not just for us here, but think about it. Most of the communities, well, this has to apply. This has to apply. Most of the communities, Christian, Muslims, whoever, Jews, don't matter, religious community, churches, mosques, synagogues, the ones that stay in turmoil, fighting all the time, war, make no progress. Or their progress is slowed and hampered. The Japanese say you can't make progress in that kind of environment. One other thing I want to share with you. And then I'll read something from Imam Muhammad and sit. The thing that separates them and made them a nation rising, powerhouse. The Japanese are expected to save enough during their working years to be self-reliant in old age. Douglas MacArthur was well aware of the competitive advantage inherent in the Japanese approach to work. In 1951, he warned that the Japanese idea of work could eventually propel Japan forward. And it did. Against an America consumed with the desire for less work and more luxury. It was a prophetic observation. Even though leisure time industries are now booming, the Japanese still do not begin to draw the sharp distinction between work and the rest of their lives that Americans do. In many respects, work is still viewed as the purpose of life itself. Hence, Muhammad the Prophet saying, Amala ibadah. Work is worship. And they became great savers. Now, Imam Muhammad. Islam's climate for business success, page 37. The working poor and waste. Quote, now you are poor, we are poor. But at the same time, the quote-unquote poor in America is both poor, or Africa, or wherever you all are. Central America, South America, listen to this. At the same time, the poor in America is both poor and well off. By global income tables or statistics, very few of us are really poor in America. That's what I was talking about, abject poverty earlier. There are very few of us who have nothing but poverty. We have televisions, $100 sneakers. That is what I call poor but big. One teenager will have a car, and there, I'm quoting Imam Muhammad, and there will be 2 or 3 bicycles, but the family is poor. And will get notices to move out for not paying the rent. Phone off, sometimes gas and lights out. Clothes, however, are everywhere. I call them the affluent poor. That is what America has, an affluent poor. Learn to respect money. Japanese save their money. In our religion, Imam Muhammad says, everything deserves a respect. If you get $10 in your hand, then know that that is $10. Look at what you need today and spend that $10 wisely. If you can manage today without touching that $10, then don't touch it. Keep that $10 for tomorrow. And try to continue day by day behaving like that until you can save for tomorrow. I don't care how poor you are. You're supposed to save something for tomorrow. Cut down your bill. Now look, what I'm teaching you is not shadow concepts. This is bayan. Cut down on your bills. Move if you have to. Into 2 rooms if where you are now is too costly for you. Go where you can do better. Go down south. He's addressing you all in the north, and I don't know those expensive West Coast. Come on down south. And I invite you to come to Jacksonville. The cost of living is very reasonable down here. And we have a growing community in Jacksonville, Florida by the grace of God. And by the grace of God, we have, I'm saying this in a humble way, I'm not boasting or bragging. And by the grace of God, you have one of the most astute students of Imam W.D. Muhammad right here in Jacksonville, Florida. So if you're looking for that community where you can grow and enlighten and establish it, come on to Jacksonville, Florida. Wide open field for the wide awake person. And we got some lovely beaches. Go where you can do better. Go down south if necessary. Imam Muhammad. Where you can live cheaper. Before I let myself become a criminal or starve or see my family suffer, I would do exactly that. And he did. He moved to Little Rock, Arkansas. I would go to those extremes. But we don't have to go to those extremes. Start somewhere. Start by checking waste. Stop wasting. See the Quran on the fate of the wasters. Allahu Akbar. Allah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. I witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except God alone, the one and only. There is none like it to him. And I witness that Muhammad the prophet, to whom the Quran was revealed 1400 years ago, is Allah's servant, messenger, prophet to all of mankind. Peace be upon you again to our Muslim community here, Masjid Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. To our JUMAH conference line, we greet you, and to our Facebook Live audience, and those of you all who will watch our post later, we say peace be with you. To our Christian brothers and sisters, Jewish brothers and sisters, shalom. And all of you all who honor us by your consistent presence on our digital masjid platform that's been allowed to us by the grace of God through Facebook. And we want to thank Facebook very much for allowing us to continue to have a platform. See, they know we're not extremists, and we don't teach hate speech. No. So we're not banned off Facebook. And we'll never teach hate speech. We want them to know that. Al-Islam is not a religion of hate. Al-Islam is a religion of peace. Let's not make any mistake about that now. So if you got any Muslims out there, and I ain't pointing the finger at nobody, I'm just simply saying, any Muslim out there teaching hate, they don't understand their religion. Nope, they don't understand the Quran. They don't know. Muhammad the Prophet was a lover of people and a lover of peace. He didn't go around teaching hate and speaking against people. Where you find that at? The Prophet is called Rahmatul lil Alameen, a mercy to all mankind, a mercy to all people. So if there are Muslims out there and they're ranting and raving and carrying on and talking crazy and saying they Muslim, well, they walking in the shadow and not in the sunlight. Now I conclude with Imam Muhammad. Continue this part now on the working poor and waste. We vary the fortunes of mankind. That was the subject today. Quote. Still on page 37, we make this last comment and we make prayer. Sisters, he said, sisters, you are a key factor for checking waste. Stop feeding your family everything that you can imagine. Stop catering wastefully to the family's eating habits. The people who are going to survive and will eventually end up being your landlords from among the poor, or eventually will have that corner store in your neighborhood that we were talking about earlier, Mike, will be people with that determination and that discipline. They will sometime come from the extreme poor, Asians, Haitians, and others. They will struggle and make sacrifices. They will have 2 or 3 families sharing a 3-room apartment, and some sleeping on floors, helping each other out, babysitting for each other. There'll be one working, one shift, one working another shift, so that someone will always be in the house. They will do that and will eventually become your landlord. Why not try the philosophical approach, as I conclude, Imam Muhammad says? Just begin by saying we ought to discipline our spending habits, watch our money more, be willing to suffer a little to do better later, search your faith to find that new perception of man and the external world that explains astounding progress for nations past and present. End quote, Imam W.D. Muhammad. رَبِّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Our Lord, grant us the best that this world has to offer us, and grant us the best that the next world has to offer us, and save us from the punishment of the fires of sins. Ameen. Iqam as-salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Wa qamati salah, wa qamati salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. Make sure your lines are straight. And they say in Arabic, astaw, istaw, but you don't know that. Just if I say make the line straight, you understand that. Don't get caught up in the shadows. Allahu Akbar. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. آمين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. تقبل الله. May Allah accept our prayer. Now, those of you all who still haven't taken care of your obligation with